Welcome back to Window on Well Street, a program that shares information about delayed food sensitivities. Sensitivities that may cause symptoms like headaches, digestive problems including irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue, stress, and even ADD and ADHD, to mention a few. I'm Dr. Gabriela Cora, your host, and in today's program we'll be taking viewer questions from patients who've invested in an immunobloodprint, a simple blood test that identifies foods which could be the cause of many symptoms. My guest today is Dr. Steven Lemberg. Dr. Lemberg, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
You have an impressive background with your training at Columbia as well as Mount Sinai. Tell us a bit about what led you to go into preventive medicine.
It turns out that preventive medicine was a calling that I experienced from childhood on, when my father had a heart attack and we all had to practice prevention. We could no longer eat unhealthy foods. So I was brought up being aware of food choices and healthy living.
So you have a very personal passion for what you do.
Absolutely, I certainly do.
Wonderful, it shows. Let's go to our caller. What's the question?
Yeah, this is Mike from Idaho. I got a problem. I took my immunobloodprint, and there's lots of positives that I have. You know, as a salesperson, I eat out a lot, and frankly, I don't know what to do. It's a hassle for me to eat at restaurants and still stay on my immunoplan. Any suggestions?
What would you suggest?
Dining out is always a challenge, but it can be extremely enjoyable. Nowadays, restaurants are accommodating their patrons more than ever. They will prepare the food as you like it, including eliminating various sensitive foods that would be problematic.
Mm-hmm. So let's say someone needs to dine out. How can they get prepared?
Well, that's the word, prepared. Once you go to the restaurant, look ahead of time at the menu online and make sure that there are some choices that fit with your program, with your sensitivities. You can also call ahead and speak to the chef. Ask the chef if he or she can prepare a meal that includes foods that you enjoy that are acceptable to your program. A really good chef and a really fine restaurant will accommodate you and take it as a great challenge to create healthy, nutritious foods.
So there are some things that this person may know ahead, and there may be some other things that they will just see when they're served bread, for example, just as a starter.
Eating out in a restaurant is part of the larger picture of eating healthy, including eating small meals and drinking your water. And when you go to the restaurant, you need a little strategy. The first strategy is if they're putting out the bread and you have problems with gluten, for example, you don't eat that. If, on the other hand, you would like to partake of some of the menu choices that are chicken or fish, you can do that, but ask for the sauce on the side. Because very often the sauce contains the offending ingredients, many different ingredients, including those that are not acceptable.
Should the person who's at the restaurant have a talk with a waiter, or how far should they go to make sure that there's not been any cooking with any of these ingredients that could be dangerous for them?
You talk to the waiter and even ask to speak to the chef ahead of time or the day that you're there, and you ask them, would they be willing to prepare the food the way you prefer it? You would like it baked, not fried. You would not like any salt added. They are used to people with diabetes, heart disease, and food sensitivities now, and they're willing to make great adjustments and preserve the deliciousness of the meal.
Wonderful. How about drinks?
Drinks, everything in moderation. Water is always the best drink. If you must have a little wine, you can have a little red wine, which is found to have some health benefits.
And how important is it to keep the same diet on a regular basis? Someone goes to one restaurant one day, another restaurant another day. What should they do?
Well, there's a large variety of ethnic restaurants which really suit people's needs. There are vegetarian restaurants. There are vegetarian choices in Chinese and Japanese restaurants, Thai, Indian. Not only will this increase your interesting eating, but you will be able to eat foods that are healthy and nutritious as well.
Wonderful. Any additional tips that you'd like to share?
Well, there's one other thing. When you eat in those type of restaurants, you may not have to wait a long time to get in. The fine restaurants have long waiting lines, and on a day where your blood sugar is starting to plummet, you can actually eat in one of these ethnic restaurants very quickly.
How about cruising? There are some instances in which a regular diet may be thrown off altogether. What would you suggest?
Cruising is an incredibly enjoyable activity if you have the stomach for it, and at the same time the amount of foods that are thrown at you and available are incredibly challenging. You have to go on a cruise armed with like a warrior. That being said, there are numerous healthy choices mixed in with all of the desserts and other things. So yes, it's all about focusing, being selective, and finding the healthy choices. They are certainly there, and if you can't find them, you can ask the chef there, and they will provide you with healthy choices.
Thank you, Dr. Lemberg. Wonderful tips.
You're very welcome.
We'll continue with Window on Well Street after the break, but may I encourage those of you watching who may have a family member, friend, or coworker experiencing similar health issues to forward the link below to them. And if you haven't had your immunobloodprint, please learn more and get yourself tested. Remember, there's a hidden link between what you eat and how you feel. I'm Dr. Gabriela Cora, and we'll be right back.